1.7b. Our last lesson introduced us to the concept of distributing a value to two or more values through multiplication. This one here is going to focus on doing it through division. So how does division change what I already know? Instead of working with meetings, we're just going to have to work with fractions. The distributive property of division requires us to split the big fraction into individual fractions and simplify each one. As usual, your organization and practice go a long way in ensuring your success. The notes that you take on this is going to be important because just like I made you show meetings yesterday, you are going to have to show me the split of the fractions today. So again, no shortcuts if you want points, if you want to pass. Now if you don't want to pass, feel free to take shortcuts. And if you really don't want to pass, you might as well drop because, again, this is going to be this way all year. When splitting the fractions, be sure to connect them with a plus sign. If you do this, you eliminate all opportunities for small, silly mistakes stemming from negatives. So, what I am going to say is, this is pretty much two numbers being divided by 6. And so the first thing you will do is you will separate this into two fractions by putting 18x over negative 6 plus, again, you have to use a plus, the other one, which is 12y over negative 6. You then simplify. 18 divided by negative 6 is negative 3. 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2, and don't forget your y comes down with it. You are going to have to show both of these steps. Be ready for that, please. The second question, 5x minus 12 over 3. Again, split it first, 5x over 3 plus, not minus, then put your negative 12 over 3. I can't do anything with 5/3, so I leave it as 5/3 x. Or you could put 5x over 3, but usually just put the x right by the line, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. Because there's one negative, it would be minus 4. Excuse me. The next one, splitting that, is 4 over negative 8 plus negative 24x over negative 8. Again, that is the part you have to show on the computer. This reduces to be negative 1/2 because remember I divide both of them by 4. It's not negative 2 because that would be 8 divided by 4. And 24 divided by 8 is a positive 3 with an x. So again, that is your general process that you're looking at. Okay. Second part of the lesson will incorporate some of the higher level problems in this section that'll be put in front of you. Vocabulary is an important part of this section, so be sure to study those words. A term is every piece of an expression. Every piece is a term. Like term is two terms with a similar variable. Coefficient is the number attached to the variable. And a constant is a number with no variables. The easiest but most difficult part of these is called combining like terms. It occurs when we simplify the expression by writing two or more like terms into one single term. So when combining like terms, the coefficients are put together, but the variables stay the same. There are three terms in this problem. 8x is a term, 10x is a term, 3 is a term. The like terms are 8x and 10x because they both have an x attached, and so we will combine the like terms by using what we know to add. This is not multiplication, but add a positive 8 and a positive 10. Remember that thing where you had to determine whether to add or subtract? Positive 8, positive 10 work together to make 18 with an x, and the plus 3 just comes down. That is your combining like terms question. On the next one, there are three terms. 9x squared is a term, negative 8x is a term, and 2 is a term. There are no like terms because the only like term for 9x squared would have to have an x squared. The only like term for 8x would have to have a x, and this would have to be a constant. This is simplified. Now I will tell you that you will hardly ever run into a problem in your work from me that says simplified, but I need to show it to you so you're aware that it exists. The third one, 5x squared y minus 8xy squared minus 10x squared y, is your problem. What we have to do now is combine like terms, and so when we do that, we will look to see which ones are the same. These are not all the same. This has 2 x's and 1 y. This has 1 x and 2 y's. This has 2 x's and 1 y, which means your like terms are actually these two. This is a 5 and a negative 10. 5 and negative 10 combine. They compete because they're different. The negatives win by 5, and again your term stays the same, x squared y. and then your variable portion stays the same, and then this comes down as it is, minus 8xy squared. (8u) minus all of this is going to put your distributive property together. So 8u right now sits while this distributive negative flips to 10u squared, flips to 5u, flips to negative 6. Now we put like terms together. 8u goes together with negative 5u. Positive 8, negative 5 makes positive 3. Negative 10 has nothing to go with. 6 has nothing to go with. Now this is not standard form, because standard form typically means highest power first. So what you would do is move your 10u front, put your 3u second, notice that is positive, and put your 6 last. Notice 2u's, 1u, no u's. And again, the key thing you want to pay attention to is that this 10 was negative, I had to bring the negative with it. This 3 was positive, I had to bring the positive with it. 6 was positive, had to bring the positive with it. This is the processes, or these are the processes that you are going to now be putting together with everything. 4x minus 4 times 3x minus 6. This again must be distributed, so 4x stays here, and then I'm going to do plus negative 4 meets 3x, so I want to be safe, plus negative 4 meets negative 6. Again, that gets distributed. Again, take your time if necessary, because our objective here is to get it right, not to get it done quickly. From there, I put my like terms together. Again, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. I then put these two together to make negative 8x, because 4 and negative 12 make negative 8, plus 24. And there you go. And the last one, again, two distributive properties, so I'm going to take my time. 2 meets 5, and 2 meets 3x, and negative 5 meets 3, and negative 5 meets 5x. Notice how our fundamentals come in to help us out. Now we do this as a 10. This is plus 6x. This is minus 15, and this is minus 25x. See how your fundamentals get you to the answer. It looks complex. It's not once you slow down and do one step at a time. 10 and negative 15 make negative 5, because the negatives win by 5. Negative 6x, negative 25x, again both like terms because they have an x on them. Negatives win by 19. Again, if you were putting this in standard form, this is fine, but if you were putting them in standard form, you would put your x first and your actual number second. Typically, the combining portion of a problem is done after distributing has occurred. Be sure to approach each problem in such a way that you do what you know how to do first. Then look carefully to see if you can simplify further. Do this until there is nothing left to do. Pretty much you just keep simplifying. Simplify is like all you're going to do in a lot of your problems, but again, simplify has 100 different faces. It could be different processes, but again, you must write things in the simplest form to get credit. Make sure you take your homework seriously. Make sure you work your homework like it's a test question, because a lot of your homework problems are test questions. And if you don't learn how to do them right now, then how are you going to do them right when it counts? So again, make sure you take some pride in those things, because they will come back to haunt you. Here are your notes for today. Again, I'm going to pause this for 5 seconds. Not pause it, but I'm going to hold it here for 5 seconds. Sorry. And good luck on your homework today. Remember to ask me if you have any questions.